So if you were just getting into GBC, how would you recommend starting?
So for just starting out, I would definitely go to Planet GBC and build one of the simple modules like the Jigsaw one over there that I've got a recreation of. Like very simple. That module right there is probably one of my sturdiest ones. It has ran at every show I've been to with very minor fixes of just replacing gears as they wear out. That's about it.
Okay.
And it was super simple. And honestly, just look at some of the stuff on Planet GBC is really the best resource I can.
And they kind of have a parts list that you can go to BrickLink.
They've got parts lists. They've got instructions for a lot of things. Like you can find a lot of good stuff there, and you can sort stuff kind of by how difficult and how expensive it would be to recreate said modules.
Okay. What was the first module you ever made?
That would be that Jigsaw one over there.
Okay.
I made sure to start nice and simple, so that way I didn't overextend myself in just getting started. And then I went completely the opposite direction with my next one, which isn't here. But that was a castle that shot the balls probably a good 6 feet in the air.
Okay.
And then it had a tumble.
So I see you have a bunch of different controls. Which is the hardest module for you to control and like trim?
Honestly, so for getting everything down tight, it's probably between the planets and making sure that the train is all nice and set up. The train is pretty, once it's going, really doesn't have many issues. It's just one of the weird issues we found here in this particular venue. Normally this is ran by two RCXs that talk over IR.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, the lighting in here, they could not talk to each other.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just so bright in here that they just could not, for whatever reason, talk to each other. I don't know what was going on. But so, thankfully I've got enough cables that I was able to make a single NXT run the whole thing for this size of layout.
Okay. So I mentioned a little bit earlier, there's a lot of recognizable basic modules here. Mm-hmm. Which one do you feel is the most unique to your setup?
Definitely I feel the rocket is the most unique because it's got a whole different mechanism inside to make sure that it can lift this rocket setup because it's so heavy. There are a couple tweaks I need to make with it, but all in all, it's probably the most unique in how it operates. Not that it's super difficult or anything, but the torque requirements to lift this rocket and not have it flop all over the place was actually a lot more of a challenge than anything else was.
And, would you mind starting at the ball return and just talk through each module just a little bit?
Thing. So this is kind of our ball return / big sweeper robot. It moves the balls around following this path, which is technically the only functional non-Lego part here is this electrical tape, but it doesn't really need it because it could be designed slightly differently to not, but that just makes it a lot easier. It then goes into our counter to say how many balls that we've gone through today. It's not a super accurate count because it has a couple issues with double counting sometimes, but it's still pretty decent. Kind of themed after a police station. Lots of speeding tickets going on here that we gotta bring people in for.
They're at about 8,100 for the day.
Yeah. Then our next module here is themed after the meme Nyan Cat, if anybody's familiar with that. Just a nice simple stair step module. It works great, really doesn't have any issues. It just goes and goes and goes. Then we've got our rocket, which of course is made to kind of celebrate one of our big events that we did in the past here with the Idaho Lug with the for our STEM moonshot back in 2018, where we built the giant rocket that you see over there as part of that. Then we've got everybody's good old favorite, the Akiyuki Planets. It's not quite an exact one-to-one reproduction. There are some part substitutions for the base and the input, but this was the first module my brother built using the instructions that are on Planet GBC. Then a module that I built without any instructions after finding a couple of these nice conveyor belt pieces. The one thing that I don't like about this one is these belts require a lot more torque to move than I think they ever should.
Okay.
And so you have to, I'm using a huge reduction here to make this work. But it moves the balls. It doesn't really have any issues. So, and after it went and broke all my old style gears, and now it's all new style gears, we're all good.
How often do you go through a new set of gears on a module?
It really depends on the module. Some of them, it's just from wear from just running so much. This is the only one that's ever broken any gears, but they were all the old style, like 16-tooth gears, because there's the newer ones that have the much stronger bracing, and it has, once I've replaced all of the ones to the new style gears, a little bit better support. It hasn't had any issues since.
Okay.
Then we've got a ball pump here leading into this rocking ship. It's kind of just a standard ball pump style. I can't remember how you pronounce the guy's name, and that makes me feel really dumb and bad. But it's a design that you can find online that's just really good. I like how it's got this built-in anti-jamming mechanism, so if it does get jammed, it'll actually pop it, which then makes the balls kind of fall down and de-jam. So this part of the module really doesn't have any issues. The main problem comes from hiring pirates. They like to hoard the balls for themselves. Then we come into my very first module, which is a reproduction of the Jigsaw module. A very good, solid module, which is honestly one that I cannot recommend high enough to be like a starter. It's super easy to build and works great. And then we come to our train, which is currently ran by an NXT, and it just moves the balls through. When the train gets to the station, it touches the touch sensor. It runs this for 3 seconds and just sends it on its way. I prefer using this style of train with the powered rails, because then I can make a much smaller and lighter train itself than needing to use the battery packs and probably putting the NXT itself on the train. But that's just a personal preference. It also means that I can make a really nice looking little steam shunter.
So is this the only module other than the ball return that's using some logic?
Yes, where it's actually controlled by anything. The counter does have some logic, but it's literally just counting every ball that comes by. This one actually requires the robot to function properly. And the ball return one doesn't really require the robot. It just is the most expensive agitator in the world.
So, well, thank you for walking through here today. Is there someplace people can find you online at all? Or?
I've kind of got some stuff on Instagram, but it's not a lot yet. Under House Steiner Customs, spelled with the German house.
Okay.
But mostly it's just stuff here is where I've done things. I'm slowly working on it, but it's just one of those, with working as much as I do with my real job.
All right.
I just don't have as much time to devote to the hobbies right now. But
well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And, this is I can't remember how many lug events I've been to now, but it's always nice to see you guys here. And,
it's always fun to be at these.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you.